my name is Tom. Welcome to our podcast. Today our guest is Marta. Hi Marta,
Hi.
Welcome. As you know from Bligson, our company, we developed a bot and an app because we believe that happiness is a continuous flow of recognized achievements. Okay. Today we're talking more about the work, the strategic elements of your work today, but we also believe that your best achievements will come if you recognize your basis, your challenges in the future at the same time. So the idea is that we would like to help you to be more professionally successful, and that is we do it into several elements. We'd like to highlight your past achievements, what did you do, where you came from, to identify the roadblocks, what are the stumble blocks you found and which ones you might get into. And the whole idea is to guide to the full potential. So not so much about what what is surroundings think of you or what you felt you will do, but just look at, what is your potential in there. We just discussed this, right?
Perfect.
So we had the pleasure to meet very shortly at the social event. So now we're here today. So tell us a little bit about yourself. So where you come from,
Perfect. So my name is Marta. I come from Madrid in Spain. And I'm 33 years old. I've been traveling quite a bit, so I'm a bit of a nomad now. Hopefully not anymore, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So I've studied in a French school, moved to France for uni for a couple of years, then back to Spain again. I've been in Switzerland living as well, in Geneva, and then I moved to Australia for 4 years.
Oh wow.
And then came back just about a year and a half ago to Valencia.
Right. Okay, where you were in Australia? Because I've been there as well. I stayed there as well.
I was in Melbourne.
Me
You too?
I was too. Yeah, I had a company there for some time. So I was,
great.
And I really loved it because it's like this crazy combination of this metropole and at the same time extremely laid back.
That's so true.
And that's with the water and the boulevards and everything. There's an atmosphere which is unique. Yeah. The only disadvantage is too far away, right?
Way too far away.
But I was interrupting you. You were telling about yourself.
No, that's a good. Yeah, it's actually one of the reasons why we decided to come back to Europe. So my partner, he's French, and we had COVID in Australia.
So, wow! So that's recent, right?
Yeah, quite recent.
Oh, okay.
So it was a bit of a kind of a aha moment there. So we loved COVID. It sounds weird, but we loved the lockdown. Of a bit of reset, of laying back, saying, okay, we just do what we like, and spend quite a lot of time cooking and exploring other sides of ourselves. It's just that being so far away, Australia were not opening their borders anymore.
Right. Yeah, that was a.
So for us, it was already 3 years without coming back home, and we said it's starting to be a bit too much for us.
Okay.
And just personal-wise, our family were growing, and we were not meeting our nephews and nieces and things, and we were like, we're kind of losing a bit of our family.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why we came back.
To go back for a moment, what did you study? Because you sort of skipped over it really quickly. What is the background there?
So I did business administration. So I did kind of international business administration. So 2 years in France, 2 years in Madrid. And it's quite a broad study. So then you can specialize in kind of everything. My trajectory was a bit unusual in the sense that I minored in finance.
Right.
But I'm not a finance person.
But why did you choose it then?
Because I was quite good at numbers at uni. So for me, it was easier to get good grades in the numbers subjects. And I was then for the grades, it will be then easier to find jobs. So that was kind of my mental decision at the time.
So you just chose it because you were good in business. That was also for business administration or only the financing part? You're just good in numbers, so
Yeah, I chose business administration as a career itself just because it was quite broad. And then I could choose
different. So you didn't know what you want in fact, right?
Exactly. Okay. So I said, I will choose something that allows me to move into different sectors and actually discover different areas.
Right.
I was quite already inclined into the marketing side of things, but I didn't know. So that was the decision. And I also wanted a career that I could go abroad. So that was kind of a must for me. So that I was able to travel.
Wow.
Because I just wanted to explore, and discover new countries and live in another.
And those decisions were made in France, or they were just in Madrid?
In Madrid, when I was finishing school. So I was in a French school, so I already knew French. So that was kind of an easy path for me to just go into a French uni.
And then you went to the French, and what did you study there?
It was the same. It was a double degree, basically. So it was 2 years in France, 2 years in Spain, but the same bachelor's degree. And in business administration, international business administration.
And then Switzerland.
And then I worked in Spain. So I find a job in marketing for an FMCG company. So FMCG is fast-moving consumer goods in the home cleaning products kind of category. So I started as a customer marketing, then I went into sales, then I went into marketing again. And then this company, it's quite big. It's an American company called SC Johnson, and then they have a hub, like the European hub is in Switzerland. So I was transferred with work to Switzerland.
What did you like better, the marketing or the sales? Because you went marketing, sales, and then back to marketing.
And customer marketing, and then back to marketing, more branding. I was very different jobs. Like one was very people focused, sale, and I was sales rep, so I was going from supermarkets
to the supermarkets itself.
And talking with the guys in there, and then I had some few customers myself.
Competing for attention.
Exactly. So that was pretty intense. Like
I recommend everybody in business to try that for some time. Because they get a lot of admiration for sales, right?
Yeah. it's impressive how much you can tune yourself between different people, right? Like how much energy people get you, like bring you, and then how much energy they drag from you. Like there were some supermarkets or hypermarkets that I was going to visit that I loved, and I was connecting super well with people, and others that I hated. I was like, oh my god, going here is gonna be awful. Like, and this man or this person that we cannot actually connect, right? Like, and we cannot really
talk. What was the most important thing in sales for you at that time? What was the most important element?
It was the people's connection. Like, it was how you treated people to achieve what you needed, right? Like, we had some goals, of course, everyone in sales has goals, but the way you manage to get them, they're very different from people to people, right? So it's how you attract and you find the cues to actually get what you need for you and for the company.
In the beginning of my career, I've been doing a sales training. It was 4 months, 80 hours per week, internal. Extremely heavy. It was actually management. It was a post-MBA. Okay. So it was management, marketing, and sales, and there was a lot of attention. Most attention was on sales. And the single most important element we learned there was to learn to listen. And that's the key element which so many people forget. So that's why I think it's really good that somewhere in your career you should really go out and sell, because you know that there are some elements which are crazily important. Right.
That's it.
So now you moved from there, right?
So I moved to marketing. This is what I always wanted to go. So it was kind of my way to get there. I had to go through sales first. I really enjoyed sales though, but moved into marketing. I really liked it. In Spain, it was more customer marketing. So I was like going to customers, presenting their marketing strategy and so on.
Helping them. Position the products, whatever. Yeah.
Then moved to Switzerland. It was more a branding marketing, because I was managing the whole Europe for a brand. They were more like how you can, something that comes from global, which was the US, how you can adapt it to the European market, basically. Really liked that time there.
Package sizes and all kinds of.
Loved it. It was really, really nice. Spent 4 years there. Switched brands at the times and positions. It's just an amazing company to make you grow, right? Like, they are quite big, so they always have opportunities for people to exceed.
It's an amazing time. And in Switzerland, I actually also was responsible for marketing for a computer company based in Gland.
Well, this is Roll, which is super close by.
It is? Yeah, fair enough. So we had the same thing there. And there are many things I love there, but I can also write a book about the things that could have been, different. That's how it is, right? But you stayed there for 4 years. That's a long time.
Really liked it. I actually left because I met my partner and we decided to move to Australia. It was a bit far for me to stay with the same company. And I think it was a good time in my life to make a break and change things. So I basically took a year off. I moved to Australia but took a sabbatical and then went traveling for a year. So I did a few months and then in Southeast Asia. Came back to Australia market, very different market from what I was used to, and entered a job in L'Oreal. So I did marketing again. L'Oreal was not my company.
Why not?
Very competitive. Inside, they always push you outside your comfort zone. Very prone to conflict and like how you deal with conflict. I'm not very good at that. And it was not an environment that I thrived. Like I was a bit like, oh, this is too much for me. So I was getting very anxious. 10 months. And it was enough for me. So, and then from there, switched back again. So I did a bit of NGOs. I worked for a few non-for-profits that were more into the climate change, how we can do things to help with that. So I was a lot into the trash management in festivals. Super interesting projects.
And that was still in Spain? Or?
In Australia. That was still in Australia. And then COVID happened. And of course, no more festivals. So I was still managing their social media, and then I was volunteering for another NGO that was quite nice, very little projects, but was not a living. So I started a new job in marketing as well, as a marketing manager for a company that does, how do you say it in English again? For trucks. So basically the spare parts for trucks. Nothing to do with what I've done before, of course, not my industry.
Business to business.
Yeah, business to business a lot. A bit to customer as well because we had stores, but mainly business to business. Industry that I didn't know at all about the products, or wasn't really not my passion either. But I learned. So I stayed there for a year because then we decided to come back to Spain. But I learned so much during that year because we started our marketing department from scratch. So that was impressive. I learned a lot from everything. From my boss, she was really good at like doing things from the first time. So it let me I was used to big corporations. We were very little, not much resources. So we had to do a lot of things ourselves and how you manage to do things by yourselves too. So that was really nice. And then came back here and then decided I wanted to start my own thing. And
before we go on that, let me ask you a bit. You have the majority at that time was at least business to consumer, and then you had this business to business. How do you compare the two? Which one did you like best?
I think for me, it was way easier to put myself in a business to consumer than in a business to business. Just because
I consider now?
Yes.
Okay.
I consider myself more consumer, right? So I think I can put myself more into my own skin and say, I can do this way. It took me a while actually to move my mindset from business to consumer to business.
Right.
Then you manage, but it's a very different approach. And I was having both at that side in Australia as well. So it was quite hard to differentiate, like, no, now I'm doing a marketing strategy of B2C versus a B2B. And I had to change hats. And it was a bit of, I could not do it really well at the beginning. I had to have a bit of help saying, like, no, it's not the same people you're talking to, right? And you talk differently.
Oh, yeah. They're very different.
Well, you're referring, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I prefer consumer just in the sense that I can picture it better, and this is what I've done better.
Right. So your current startup is also to consumers?
Yes.
Tell me more.
So it's direct to consumer. D2C, we will say, let's say. It's a marketplace. So we do, so what we've built with a friend of mine is called Muoki. So it's a marketplace for secondhand furniture. So the whole story of how this came to life is because I came back from Australia to Valencia and to my new flat. And my flat was empty, which is pretty weird in Valencia, but I managed to get an empty flat. And I had to furnish it all by myself. And I wanted bit more special furniture than what you can get from IKEA. And I came from Australia where everything was secondhand. I bought my whole flat was secondhand, and I wanted to do the same here.
Sure.
And it took me ages to find things.
Find the things you liked and fit it and so on.
Ages. And it was like, how is it possible that there is nothing furniture specific in Valencia? Valencia is like the city of furniture, right? Like in Spain and in Spain in general, where I can find like really nice secondhand pieces that they are already or curated, or I can just buy it online and get it shipped to my house, or I just can filter for what I need to look, basically, in an easier way. And my partner was in the same point, right? Like my associate, and she was moving to a new flat, and we were both like, how come this doesn't exist? So you're together
with a partner?
Yes, she's in Barcelona.
Okay.
And I was here.
So you work remotely together?
Remote, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Traveling to Barcelona, and she was traveling to Valencia from time to time. But yeah, we were both.
Before we go a little bit deeper in your positioning with this company, because this is your current situation, right? Looking back, what are your best achievements? Your past achievements. Which are the ones you believe, that highlight your life? You can
professional or personal, or both?
Fine.
I think one of the biggest achievements that I had was to be able to take the time for me, like that sometimes we actually don't really congratulate or like thank people for taking time to travel. Like the year off that I did was a amazing thing that I did for me. Like I learned so much about myself and what I did, even if I didn't know what to do in the career or whatever, but it was a really good time for me to reflect.
Step back and look at yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that was one good thing. I've always been quite good with people. I think this is one of my biggest achievements. There's not one thing itself. It may be more skill than achievement, but just to be able to build a team.
Right.
Even though work may not be the best, that you still connect between all of us and like all move at the same time, like a bit of the rugby mans, right? That they all move and push towards. Then the third achievement I would say, and this is something specific, is when I decided to quit L'Oreal. This is something that it was, not that I want to talk bad about L'Oreal because I'm sure but my personal experience wasn't good and I was not feeling mentally good. And to take the courage to say no. And I'm very hard to say no. Like it's not, so that was one of the things that I felt kind of proud after. That was a good decision for me.
It's actually remarkable that when I ask you about achievements, you're really inclined to answer more what you said, skill sets, or defining moments, right? But of the three things you mentioned, there's not one which you can say, listen, this is like an achievement which I can show that I'm proud of, which I, like a fact I achieved. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's interesting actually, because you're very intelligent, you're extremely open-minded, you look at the world, you try many things, you're, I think, really good in many things. And at the same time, this basis where you can say, listen, this is... And I know that, I've been there. Myself, I've worked all my life, I suppose, in marketing, sales, management, for the IT industry. But when I worked for a very large IT company, there were about 12,000 people. I was responsible for marketing with a team of 75 people. And that company was taken over by another one. And anyway, I ended up, out because it didn't fit me as well. And I didn't want to move to the headquarters, different country. But I realized that if I look at my whole career, everything was IT. But if I would picture myself at the end of my career looking back and telling people about my achievements, I noticed that I would tell them about the boat I designed for 2 years. Which is weird, right? Because you've got your whole career and then there's just in one thing and then a completely different, that's what you call your best achievement, and the rest is like gone. And that's not good, at least for me it was not good. Yeah. So, and I recognize something similar with you in the sense that you have skills, that there are defining moments. There are processes like learning to reflect on yourself. but what is there to put on the wall? What is there to put as a prize, like a sign? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And I remember the Americans were really good at it. I was one of the beginning of my career working for an American computer company, Silicon Valley, typical story, and sales. And they had like what they call the President's Club. And every time you scored 120% over, so 100% is your target, 120, then you would, get this reward. And this reward was really like a plug. There's a lot of money involved, and there was also a trip to Hawaii or whatever, everything great. But this little plaque which you could put on the wall. And I remember my colleagues, they had one and another one, and one year they missed and it was an empty spot, and I also noticed I put one and one and one. And why is it, right? For some reason, I realized that during the difficult times which you get in every career, there are always ups and downs, right? And you're sitting at your desk or whatever, it is good to reflect on something tangible. So that's what I call an achievement, tangible achievement, right? So I suppose it's one thing, we could sort of think about how to get that there, right? A company which you build, maybe your current startup, which gets to a certain revenue point, that can be a tangible achievement, or get into a new market with some success or whatever. There are many moments you can celebrate and make tangible, but I think they're important.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, so give me some facts. What size are we talking about? Your current
my current project. My current project, I was thinking about achievements actually before Muoki started. Like already because of Muoki, I'm already happy. Like this for me is already an achievement, what we've done today, even though it's not even properly launched in the sense of like we haven't invested in marketing and so on, but like we've already built a platform without being tech. Like,
right.
Not me nor my partner are tech. We've already built a brand that has an identity, has a value, and we've already achieved some numbers, right? Even though it's an MVP, it's still small, but like so we already have around 35 vendors. So I would say it's a marketplace. So we have sellers and we have buyers, and then we put them in common, right? So we have 35 buyers. We've already around 60 sellers, 60 buyers. Approx 15,000 unique visitors to the site. Now we need to move into the next step, right? Like and make it like grow a bit, like invest a bit more into marketing and then making it.
Is it your passion?
To do it?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just something that I was looking back and I was like, if this existed a year and 3 months ago, I would be so happy.
Right.
Yeah. So that will be, it's a need that I had myself, right? And
what I don't understand is that you tell me that in Valencia it was quite unique that you found an empty apartment, right? Which we need to, but the word unique struck me because it basically said, listen, I needed it because I found a unique apartment. So how big is the market then for all the others which
I was renting, so it's a bit different.
I understand.
People buying is a bit different just because, this is more our customer area.
Right.
So the people that we're looking at, which was the case of my partner. So she was buying a new house and then had to furnish it all from scratch. I was renting, for renters it's a bit different because it's true that in Valencia and Spain in general, they are usually furnished.
Right.
They're usually furnished with not amazing furniture, I'd say. Sometimes they're a bit oldie and then it can be like upcycled or whatever.
Yeah.
But here we're thinking more into the buying a house for the first time or, like it's a bit different from my proper situation. I wanted to have my own furniture as well, so that's why I was looking for an unfurnished flat. Right. But it's true that the common, if you're long term or short term, it's not the same either.
No.
So it depends a bit on who you're targeting. Our target was someone was starting their own house, moving to their own house, wanted to furnish their house with something that no one else had or that already existed. We realized that for me, the environmental aspect of it was very important, like reusing things that already exist. What we realized is that people that buy this is
apartment is that big in their brain, is that big in their mindset that you're buying a new apartment and you're seeing, all the waste which comes with construction. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
And then these people need to, make their choice based on the fact that second-hand furniture is it a market?
Second-hand furniture.
I mean, second-hand furniture for new apartment owners. Is that a market?
So I think there is a market.
And how do you know it is?
Yeah. So second-hand furniture first. So this is.
That's one thing.
Something that is happening. Mm-hmm. New apartments only is not something that we've targeted in particular.
Right.
So what we thought, this is our first hypothesis. This is what we were going at first. What we've realized actually after a year is that there is not only these people that are buying, that actually people that are buying is people that want special piece in their house. It doesn't mean people that are moving from scratch, but that they already have something and they want to change it because of something different, or they had an empty spot and they wanted to find not the furniture that everyone has, but something unique for the house. We've had people that they just moved or they renovated their house and then the house looks completely different and they wanted to do a change in their furniture as well.
Right.
But our buyers, we had only 60, so it's not that super representative, of course, but like from what we had, it's been a bit different from our first hypothesis of who we were thinking we were targeting. So,
and why is that? Because you moved with the amount of these first 60 customers?
Yes, because the demand, you're totally right. At the end, it's a good mix, right? Like who buys you versus what you get to sell will determine a bit the one and the other, right? It's a bit of the chicken and the egg, so what we started before. At the beginning of the furniture, we were selecting ourselves, so we started as an e-com. It wasn't a marketplace first, and then we realized, well, if we really want to make this bigger and like manage the transactions, we need to bring other sellers to put their furniture too, because otherwise, like taking all the furniture is a bit harder, right, between the two people.
Yeah.
So that's why we opened the marketplace, and then the sellers that are joining our platform, they are quite more involved into restorers, like they refurbish furniture or upcycling from furniture that they changed, not from what they were before. Or we do have some people that are a bit like what we call broken tears, so they just go find like unique pieces and they resell it. But we went from what we were selecting to what other sellers are bringing that we are selecting too, because we've got some criteria. So our marketplace is curated.
You react more on what they were given to you.
But what it was given were furniture that were a bit different from what we were looking ourselves to, which not means bad, it's just different. And therefore the demand also varies. And this is what we moved from first apartment you buy and you want your furniture to people that maybe were a bit older and that they had like already a house or they were renovating their existing house that they own with new pieces.
So like a unique piece.
Exactly.
Okay. How do you find these clients?
Good question, because it's our point now.
Yeah, there's... I noticed when we're talking that you do a lot of on your charisma. Right? On your positive attitude and your connection skills, I get it, right? So you're convincing me on your charisma. And that's a very big strength, but there's a huge danger. And the danger is that you are able to make anything look good, right? So if you talk to somebody, you explain your business, everybody's enthusiastic. But now you have to ask yourself, is that because the proposition hits spot on, right? Or is it because you are so good in presenting yourself at that moment so the other feels, oh, that's nice, right? Because if it's the last thing, then it doesn't scale, right? But if it's the first thing, then it will scale, because then you have this gold combination. You have, a proposition which takes on it by itself, and then on top of it, you have your skills.
Yeah.
I can't figure out yet what it is exactly. I'm missing that a bit.
Yeah.
So what I see right now, if you look at your driving force, maybe I'm wrong, but I see like two elements. One is that there is a big desire to do something beneficial to this world, because you worked for the NGOs, even didn't make any money. You're brave enough to take time out from a beautiful career just to explore. These are all the elements which makes you somebody who does something for a purpose. I love that. That's strong, right? And now the question is, okay, what kind of proposition fits that driving force as well, in such a way that the proposition by itself can move on? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and the interesting part, by the way, the moment you solve that, and you can articulate that and you solve it, then the marketing becomes so easy, right? I was talking the other day to a company, a completely different world, selling goods to wineries, okay? And it's a family business, and they started many years ago, and the guy was saying, my grandfather, he sold pipes and taps to wineries to irrigate, okay? And it was a good business, because he bought the taps for a certain money, and he could, charge 3 times as much. But then the internet came, and then the clients could Google, and they could see that the same tap, which my father sold for, 100 euro, could be bought on Amazon or eBay or whatever for 10 euro. So he said, the business was gone. But my grandfather was smart, and then together with his grandfather, they moved into the irrigation solutions. So no longer they were selling pipes and taps. They said, no, we do irrigation, right? So they added knowledge to the process. That sounded good. So they went from product sales to solution sales. And the solution for the problem of water. That was very nice, and they made a lot of money, but then they got stuck again. Why? Again, because of the internet, that knowledge became abundant. These wineries said, listen, I Google a bit, and I become an expert in irrigation, with watching 5, 7, 10 YouTube videos and whatever. And it's true, right? Knowledge was no longer only in a certain area. So then their business again got a hit, right? And he was talking about it. And I said, listen, the days we are in now are not so much driven by product. They're not even driven so much by knowledge, or by facts and knowledge, because these are abundant as well. We're now in a different phase, and I call it a phase of influence. And this third phase is mostly related to the fact that we are living in a world where the problems are huge, right? This winery doesn't care about pipes. They don't care about how to flow the water through the winery, but they do care about the Brexit, right? Can we still export? They care about climate change in general. They care about these diseases, right? They care about politics, global. It is still a very confusing world, maybe even more than when they had to select the pipes 50, 70 years ago, right? So I'd argue that the companies which are going to make a difference in the near future are the companies that can help to position in this complex world, right? So this positioning is also about identity. The example is business to business. But what's also is about what is my identity in this crazy changing world, right? And I can imagine that with your background, your business administration, and at the same time your driving force to make a difference and your communication skills, you might be able to become a sort of source with your company where people feel like a beacon, right? So, because what I feel when you talk about it, maybe I'm wrong, that furniture can be more than just a chair to sit on. It can be also have like an identity, like something defining, right? So even if I buy a new apartment, and it's so easy to go to IKEA and stack it up full. Yeah. I come home and I see this IKEA showroom. I can still imagine that there's like one piece or something which is me, right? And of course it's great if it's some inheritance from my grandmother, but not everybody has that, right? So maybe there is some kind of opportunity. The challenge you now would have, if you like that approach, to think how to get there.
Yeah.
Right? But that's something I feel. So the big picture now, what we just discussed is you had your background, you had your 3 elements, again, the business administration, your desire to do good, and your great communication skills and your positive attitude, which is admirable. These 3 things, right? So there's your driving forces to try to connect them. What are the roadblocks? What are the stumble blocks? Yeah. Why would this fail? Right? Will you, first of all, highly intelligent people with a lot of interests, they run a risk with their own startup that they get bored. And it usually happens after 2 years, 1.5, 2 years. Because you feel that you know the trick, right? And if there's not an inherent driving force which keeps you moving, you get bored with your company, you start to doubt. And with every company, every startup, it's 10% ID and 90% perseverance. Keep going, stubbornness, And the other day I was telling about, and maybe I'm offending some people, I apologize, about dogs. It was a type of dog, these greyhounds, right? And these greyhounds, they are bred for racing, right? And when they were breeding the dogs, they found out that, did you ever see how these races go? They have they have this fake rabbit, right? And they pull it on a string along a track.
Yeah.
So they have some cages, and the cages open together, and all the dogs go out, and they see the fake rabbit, and they start to hunt it, right? But what appeared is that not only need the dog be fast, the dogs also needed to be stupid. Because the smart dogs would say, oh, this track will go, let me go this way. So we'll jump over a fence. Yeah. Problem, right? The other ones say, I'll sit and wait because it will come back this way. Yeah. So the smart dogs, they completely destroyed the business, right? So now the 2 options. Or you enter into a business where you feel that your intelligence and your potential is immediately achieved and you have to walk all the way with a sustaining business. That might be a challenge for you. Or you find it's something that it is so aligned to your driving force that you can never get enough of it. Right? What do you see as your own stumble blocks, your roadblocks?
I think you've said so many things that I was like, yes, that's so true. So going from bots, before I go into my roadblocks, one of the things you said was about the stories of the furniture. This is actually why we studied it. So each of our pieces have a story that we tell already. So we like to have this distinctiveness. No? So when you buy something, it's yours. And you know what the story was before, and now you can build your own.
Right.
In the sense of roadblocks, my personal roadblocks, which are a lot in my mind, of course. One is I've realized this very recently, that I don't want to do this alone. And this could be a roadblock for me. Yeah. In the sense of being by myself. It's something that I don't want, and that I really want to be surrounded with someone, at least someone that goes hand to hand. Yeah. That's kind of my biggest one in terms of this project. The second one is this thing of I think there is a term for that, but having the sense I won't make it. That because you think you're not gonna make it, then you don't make it, right? Imposter syndrome, I think maybe it's called, where you think I'm not sure if I'm qualified enough to make this work. And
what is it? Is it fatalism, or is it a lack of confidence, or what are we talking about?
Lack of confidence, because I've never done this before, right? I've studied that, I've worked for companies, but I have never launched a business. It's the first time that I'm doing this, so I'm
yeah, but that I don't believe. I mean, seeing your background, your qualities, you can make it. There's not 1%. The only thing I see is what I said before, is that you're so intelligent that you will find excuses to move along, but they're not related to your capabilities, and they're not even related to the business proposition. It's just the fact that you get, restless, and you need to move something, right? So, but it's I don't believe that. No, I'm certain that your capabilities by itself are more than enough to run a good business. There's single doubt. Okay, so that's not it.
Yeah.
But there is something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything else which you feel which?
No, I think the one of like being by myself is one of the big ones. I think where I don't think I would enjoy it.
There's something else, by the way. Working for some investment companies, we never would invest in a company which is just run by one person. And that's exactly the reason why, is that it's difficult to maintain the driving force if you're alone.
Yeah.
That's not to say that it's easy to find somebody.
I agree, but...
Because very often if this person is your friend, then you get in these strange situations that you acknowledge things because they are a friend, not because you believe in it so much. So that is a danger. Finding the right person is hard. But the interesting thing again is that the moment you align your reasons for the existence of your company in a good way, and you are articulating them in such a way that it attracts, then it's suddenly much easier to find somebody. It's like a magnet, having a company for the money, for example, that can attract, but probably won't attract the right people. So you need something which aligns your elements, and then this person or persons, they will come along, I believe, but they will not come before you figured it out yourself. Otherwise, type of people who come where they are just short-lived, right? Because it would be really amazing to find somebody when you didn't articulate your future yet completely, and then you find somebody, and then your articulation of your future is exactly the same as that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, of course.
That
would be ideal world, right?
Yeah, that doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen. So, is it ideal? Sometimes maybe even not, because it sort of also distracts you from your goal, because then you're going to sacrifice your purpose based on what you think the other person would like, and then you're sort of, there's already inflation in your business concept. So anyway, you don't have it, so you don't bother with that, so that's fine. So don't worry about it. But I was still missing this exact elements why you are different, right? And I believe we're getting a bit there by this identity of furniture, right? So what's next? What to do now? What do you feel yourself are the next steps you have to go through?
So now I've got a situation where I need to find someone to come along with me in this process. So that would like to join Muoki and believes.
But now you're doing exactly what I said is not needed, because you still need to find your goals, right?
Yes.
So isn't that a bit of an excuse, or what is it?
Yeah, maybe. But if I want to make Muoki successful, right, or in a way that I
Don't say it like that.
Well, successful. I'm just thinking successful. Doesn't mean only money wise, right?
No.
It works, and then I can live out of Muoki.
You have your moments of achievement.
Exactly.
Sorry, you leave?
Out of it, right? Like I can make a way of living. So it's
live.
Yeah.
So I thought you said leave.
No, not leave.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah. So you have your moments of achievements. You keep going. Your things are tangible. There's money flowing in. That is success.
Exactly.
And
and this is the way. So for me to do that, there are a few things that are actually, I'm maybe postponing it because why I'm doing this, but I think I still need to, first of all, I need to find some funding to get the ball rolling a little bit. just because what we are getting so far it's nuts. So I needed to have the ball rolling, and to get motivated. The problem is that I'm seeing like right now, I'm like more by myself, and I get demotivated.
Right.
So what I'm seeing is like, I think to get the motivation back again, having someone that you can back and forth ideas will help me. I think this is my belief. So that's why I'm quite focused in, let's see if I can find someone to get into the game.
Right. But again, personally, I believe that this person or persons will automatically arise the moment you figured out the exact why of your business. Right? That's what I feel. And something else, you can't force it, because you can spend all your life finding the right business partner, and still there might be something, so there's no guarantee. There's a big factor of luck involved, but the moment you're radiating your proposition, your why, then other people will find you more easily. So it's you almost turn it the other way around. You say, listen, this is what I stand for, and people who like it, they will come up. Instead of, I don't know what I want yet, but I will start looking for somebody who fits what I don't know what I want yet.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't. So that's one. And the second about the funding. The moment you got funding, you also have like this responsibility to execute according to the plan which you made in the first place. Right? And you can't get funding if you don't have this exact goal in mind yet, which makes you feel empowered day by day.
Yeah.
Right? So these two things, I'd say you could approach it exactly the other way around. So instead of you going out to find somebody, you say, no, this is me, find me. It's a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
And instead of going to a funding, say, listen, I like money because I want to do something what I don't know yet what to do. You can also say, listen, this is what I stand for, and the funding will come to me.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to do work for it, but actually, this is the same thing. A business partner or funding, it's the same process.
Yeah.
Right? And it happens exactly the same process which you need to feel that this is like a future for you. Okay? So I still believe that the moment you really get this thing going, which fits. And again, the interesting part is that we live in a society where there's so much need for what you like to offer. I mean, I get it, right? I see these many new buildings, right? And they are soulless. Yeah. They're beautiful and they're perfect. And 90% are stuck with some new IKEA furniture and then some old stuff thrown in, and that's it. But then you enter the building, for example, and it's empty. Yeah. There's no character, there's no soul. And they're all the same. Thousands.
Yeah, that's true.
Thousands. Hundreds of, only in this city alone, there are hundreds of buildings which are new. They all have an entrance which is dead. There's the social center which is almost dead. Yeah. Right? So there's huge opportunity to help people to set their identity in their homes and in the buildings they live. It's huge. And you're doing people a favor, because so many people, and I've seen it many times, young couples, they buy an apartment and they work like a year, 1.5 years for crazy to make it, and then they fall in a trap because they realize that they haven't been able to import an identity. And then they visit their parents or their grandparents who still live in a cottage, in the country, and they see they lack a lot of comfort, which they love, which they bought a place, but at the same time they feel, wow, there is some kind of connection. I like to go home to my grandmother, not just to see her, and definitely not to have not a nice bathroom and whatever, no air conditioning, whatever. No, it's because they have an identity, right? So the moment you are able to offer some kind of tools, artifacts, which help people to make a choice for an identity, that's strong, right? And then you exactly know your market opportunity, because you know, you just walk around, you see an empty building, you say, listen, this is what I'm going to do. This building is mine.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
And then you come to this building and this owners and this concierge or whatever you want to talk to and say, listen, this is or the association owner, this is my proposition. I bring you something. A concept I had to think about, which started in Amsterdam, I think it's 30 years ago. And they had like this, also for new apartment buildings, they had art rental. So what they basically said, that a lot of artists producing a lot of works and they're standing in a basement and nobody does something with them. We go to this artist, we say, listen, what we do, we take your stuff, it should be framed already or whatever. And we go to these new buildings and to these new offices and hospitals and whatever and say, listen, there's an empty wall, give it to me. You're paying a little fee, and I make sure that every 3 months there's a change in collection, so we don't have to bother. Somebody doesn't like it, he waits a few months, and the next one they like. I come back every 3 months with some new art, put it on the wall, and go back again. And it is a great business. It's a great business because the artists were really happy that it was no longer in their basements. Very often they did it for free because artists need galleries. So now these artists were going to these hospitals to walk through the halls with potential clients, and this is what I did, and they felt proud, right? They didn't tell their potential clients that they put it there for free, but it doesn't matter, right? But there was somebody making money, and that was the person who's handling this. And hospitals were happy as well, because they had a little budget to organize. Okay, 1,000 a month, and do it for me. A big hospital, like a building, give me 100 a month. But it's nice, it's 1,200 euro, 10 buildings, 12,000, and how much work is it? Nothing.
Yeah.
See? So suddenly this idea, I talked at that time to the owner of this rental, they called it art rental. His idea just came because he felt empty entering these buildings all the time. So there's these beautiful walls, there's nothing. Why? It's a shame, it's a waste. And at the same time he had friends from art school and they couldn't expose their work. So they did both sides a favor, and both were even willing to invest in his business by helping him. So that's an example of somebody who found his why. He wanted to help his friends who had art which couldn't be shown, and he felt that the visitors of hospitals were, should be treated with something nice. Yeah. So I would recommend. I think you're this close to finding something like that. So why not? Yeah. Maybe that is the answer. Yeah. And again, the moment you found it and you articulate it, and I'll be happy, to meet again and to talk when you reach something or talk more about it. But the moment you found something where you can say, listen, this is me, I guarantee you that finding a partner, finding funding, and marketing becomes easy. Yeah. Right? So. And it matters. Let's summarize, right? Because was the summary. I think then you should no longer be afraid that you're being restless is feeding your feeling of insecurity, because there's no need, right? It's not. This insecurity is not becoming because you don't lack the capabilities. It is the opposite. That's how I feel it, at least. Okay. Talking like an hour together. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I suppose you've got anything to add like this, because I suppose we're coming to the end of this 45 minutes, or what is it?
Thank you so much. It's been super enriching, actually, all this conversation, and have another point of view on things that I maybe have not thought about them that way, right? So
sometimes you need something external.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Okay, so we come to the end of our podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.